Thanks for coming and hanging out in the basement with me today. Well, if you saw an earlier video where I got this Alaskan Railroad tank car, saw that those cars that were in that set, some of them were good, some of them were not great, but that little set I got was like less than $14 with the auction fees, so I got hardly anything into this car. But what I wanted to try today was to make this section of the car white again without damaging the graphics. Now, I'm not exactly sure why this is colored like this. It could be from overhead lights, ultraviolet lights, whatever, because white plastic will do that over time. It could be something was spilled on it and it stained it. But, what I'm going to try is this product, which is mostly hydrogen peroxide, or a certain percentage of it is hydrogen peroxide. And the technique I'm going to use is called RetroBrite. For those who are not familiar with it, it's a process that was kind of discovered when people were trying to restore vintage computers, and you know how a white computer keyboard or the housing around it will turn like dark brown with age, and this reverses that. So I'm going to try that on this car. But first off, let's just try a little bit of my favorite solvent, which is naphtha. I'm going to try a little bit of this on the top just to see if it lightens it up, because this whole car is kind of slimy and a little bit oily. But let's see what we got here. We're not going to go on the blue because I'll probably remove all that blue. Yeah, we just got dirt here. Okay, so it is looking like it probably is that yellowing of plastic from ultraviolet light. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scrub this car real good. Then we're going to head outside and put this in a bucket with the solution there and let it sit in the sun and let it do its work. And just like that, I'm back. And believe it or not, for me, it's been several weeks. For you, it's only been a split second. But definitely going to do a reveal on that tank car. And one reason why it's been long is because I've been working on other stuff, but I really wanted to finish up this engine and clean up the rest of these cars so you can see a resolution from that earlier video. I did get a great question on that video. I said the engine was from 76 to 78 and it was used in starter sets. Well, it's used in the Black River Freight set, and it also included a caboose, which I did not get with the original auction lot here, but I happened to get that very caboose on an earlier auction lot, the correct caboose. Who knew? I'm sure it was in several starter sets, but let's move the camera and take a closer look. Drum roll, please. Shoom. Alright, I'm not sure how the camera is going to pick this up. This camera, kind of goofy that way, but we'll see how it looks in post. But basically, to my eye, this is still discolored, but it is way better than it was. Basically, how it worked is when I went to do it, it was kind of cloudy, and the next day, or later on in the day, it ended up turning out quite sunshiny, so I was able to get this in the sun. But it really needs more time with the peroxide. But I didn't want to go crazy buying, you know, those $5 bottles of peroxide, because this car's really only worth like $10. But it is way better, and I like it a lot. And if I get an opportunity, I will put this in peroxide again and make that a little better. But the graphics were not affected at all. The plastic looks great. I'm very happy with this. I also put in this car because this car was also badly affected by the darkness. Yeah. Not sure if you're going to be able to see a difference between here and here, but this car also lightened up quite a bit. Let's take a look at the rest of the set here. Actually, we'll pull the engine forward a bit, and we'll insert our two cars. Move the camera a little closer. Insert our tank car right here, and then we'll put in our hopper car right there. Alright, let's turn on the transformer. We'll back things up. Actually, it's going to go forward, so we'll manually back it up here. So I wanted to show you the engine here. The engine turned out great. I still got to buy a bell for it, but it is running good. The only repairs, I really didn't have to do any repairs. Just had to clean things up, lubricate it. The upper gear here, which is just right under this cover, under this bump out on the shell. That upper gear, somebody riveted in the retainer for it, so I can't take it off without breaking the rivets, which I'm not going to do right now. But otherwise, this engine is working good. It did have a little trouble with the E-unit that I had to clean up, but again, that wasn't too bad. The tender I had to work on, I want to say a big shout out to Paul. He suggested that this was supposed to have a rubber band on it, or rubber type of band, and he uses like a silicone wristband. I'm going to be on the lookout for one of those. I'm not going to buy a 10-pack from Amazon or something, but it'll make the sound of steam here work much better. Mechanical sound of steam. Alright, let's get this back on the track. So yeah, everything cleaned up really, really nice. Alright, let's get this thing going forward here. Yeah, we're still working on some dirty track here and dirty pickups and whatnot. That's funny. Ah, I see my problem. I did not put on the front truck correctly and it was shorting out. That works much better. There we go. Everything's all cleaned up, and there is the Rio Grande 97.7 caboose, which is correct for this engine. Alright, let's get her moving around the track and get some other views and wrap it up. Alright, let's go for a ride. Well, what do you think of that? I am very happy with how this car turned out, even though it's not perfect, but hey, like I said, I hardly paid anything for it. Well worth the effort to put it in. And the rest of this set turned out really good too, even though the front of that engine doesn't have a pilot on it, or, you know, a cow catcher, or whatever you want to say. I'm okay with that. It gives it character, and maybe I'll find a different shell for it someday. I'm not worried about it. It runs alright. Still a little issue with the reverse unit, whereas in forward it doesn't always make great contact, so I'll have to revisit that issue again. But it's always something with these, but I love tinkering with them. If you got any questions, let me know. My name's Jeremy with Too Many Hobbies, and I hope you check out the rest of the channel. Thanks for watching.